Awesome.
Okay, so today I'm excited to be talking with Carmen, and Carmen's actually come to my animal sanctuary a couple times and done yoga with us. She's a yoga instructor, and it's pretty neat. She travels around and she goes to a lot of sanctuaries, so I just kind of wanted to introduce you to her and the things that she's doing. So, Carmen, go ahead and give us a little bit of your backstory. What brought you into what you're doing now?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. So glad that we could chit chat today. So, I am a 500-hour yoga teacher, which just means I've had over like 500 hours of training. And even before my journey into yoga and where I'm at right now with programs and getting to go to sanctuaries like yours to teach yoga, before that, I was running a pet care business. So, I ran a pet care business for about 10 years out of Columbus, Ohio. And I was just caring for all sorts of different people's pets, all sorts of different kinds of animals, from dogs and cats and chinchillas and ducks and other types of little furry friends. And something that I noticed when I was caring for people's pets was that I was getting to know a lot of my clients' pets almost better than they were. Like, I had a different relationship with them. Some of the clients were very caught up with work. They had a lot of things going on. And so this journey kind of started as a way to kind of reconnect my clients with their pets. So it was something where it was like, I just felt like something was missing because I would go to talk to clients about things going on with their animals. And they would just be kind of shocked about what they would hear or what's going on with their pet or how their animal reacts to certain things, whether it's other animals or things that happen at feeding time and stuff. And I was like, there has to be a way to kind of welcome, this deeper connection back to it when these clients are home. So I started guiding different programs to welcome this reconnection. Some of the programs that were offered were just like social events, like just take an hour to come out, meet the other clients, get to socialize the animals, especially if people had like dogs, then they could bring their dogs to these events. Some other events that we did were dog friendly hikes. We would go out in nature in different places around hike with our animals, and yoga with dogs. So that's kind of what started all of where I'm at. Was people would literally bring their dogs not just to the yoga class, but we would incorporate the dogs into the practice. There are poses that can be safe as long as you are being cautious. And I have kind of this little spiel that I go through in each session where I talk about, kind of lifting the animals, whether it's a dog or cat or rabbit, and how you should hold them and what poses are safe and maybe what things, to do or not to do. And people loved it. And I started getting people outside of my client realm that had me and wanted me to come out and guide yoga, especially with dogs. So that's kind of where things got
That's
started
pretty
into
cool.
the
Yeah. I
yeah.
don't think I've seen people do it like that exactly, where they bring their dogs out and do yoga with them. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's more typical to just kind of have the animal there, or a lot of nonprofits host like puppy yoga or kitten yoga, where the animals just doing whatever. They just kind of have
Yeah.
their own thing going
I'm
on.
following. Yeah.
Yeah, but it takes it to another level, having it where you're actually incorporating the animal, because it brings you into a different kind of awareness. You're typically going to have to slow down. You're going to really have to come into consciousness of, how is my pet feeling? Do they want to do this right now? Are they interested in the mat? And so it brings up like this whole new light and understanding between the person, the client, or the pet owner, and the animal itself. So,
Very cool. And so
yeah.
now, how did you get into traveling around and going to different sanctuaries and stuff?
Yeah, so it actually was a dream of mine at one time to want to open up my own sanctuary. So outside of caring for other people's pets, I kind of had my own little like petting zoo in my house. I had me and my partner at the time. We had rabbits, we had dogs, we had cats, guinea pigs, mice, lizards, all these different animals. And we typically got them from people who just were unable to care for them anymore. So it was literally like someone would post on Craigslist, like, I can't take care of this animal, or they would post in a local chat or something, and we would go and get those animals and they would become ours. So, but it just was the space that we were in was in the city. A lot of the time we were living in, going from apartment to house and growing, very quickly as we gained more pets and even services with work expanded. And I was just like, I want to do something more. I want to be able to help more. And so I started reaching out to sanctuaries like yours and others in different areas, and was like, what do you do? What are you? How do you, what land do you have? And what's the process of having an animal sanctuary? And what does this entail? To just learn for myself, like, exactly what I was getting into. Because I'm very much an action oriented person. I will just do something and figure it out. But with dealing with live animals and live creatures, I wanted to go in very knowledgeable and not just kind of jump in extremely head
which is
first.
smart. It's smart.
Yeah.
They're a lot of work, especially when you have a lot of different types of animals like we do. They require a lot of different kinds of care, and a lot of them that we get too, like we just got a new pig the other day, but a lot of them come to us because their owners really, I mean, they mean well. It's not like they neglect them on purpose or anything, but they just don't really know how to properly take care of them, or they don't know how to seek the help that they need for them, and they end up in pretty rough shape. But that's why a lot of it to us.
Yeah. And that's what we were finding. Like, it wasn't like people were just trying to like, get rid of this pet. It just was different life circumstances. And me and my partner at that time just wanted to help as much as we could. But then along that journey, the shutdown across the United States happened and across the world happened. And so I started navigating down a different road. My partner started navigating down a different road. And so mine kind of took the turn of, during the time of the shutdown, I got more into my own health and wellness. I was a little burnt out. I had a lot of things going on that I hadn't really dealt with. And so I started doing the yoga for myself more so than the animals. And then I wanted to somehow bring that connection back in to, okay, like, maybe I'm not ready to have a sanctuary now because I had all these life changes going on, but how can I still support them? And so I still kept kind of reaching out to places like yours and just still had questions. I wanted to figure out how to support them. And then I was like, well, what if I just come and teach yoga at these places and it still offers support to just so many animal sanctuaries? Because that was one thing that I learned along the way, was that I was happy to discover that there were so many different types of animal sanctuaries out there. And I wanted to just give back and open that up to other people's eyes, because I had no idea of all the different types of nonprofit sanctuaries, how everyone runs them. Had the same foundations, but then so many variants along the way that were different based on like the communities they were around or who they were serving. And also, one of the more difficult things with it I found in my journey was of course like financial assistance and financial support. So I was like, well, if I can go and do this one maybe thing that can welcome different lives of people to these spaces, to welcome them and allow them to learn what I did, then that'd be beautiful. And so I found that through yoga, because yoga, especially pre-shutdown, was very much in studio. Yoga, I found in its own journey, had a lot of kind of theories around it that people weren't too sure of. And so now, post shutdown, people are really bringing yoga in general outside of the studio. And it's beautiful then to allow the practice to be brought out into these animal sanctuaries, so that the practice is enlightening, it's relaxing for people, and then they also are doing something good too, where they get to support nonprofit sanctuaries like yours. So
yeah, and I was going to ask you, how do you think it changes the energy? So whether, like, we had some sheep when you were out here last that we kind of let them roam around, or even if you're just doing yoga like in the vicinity and you can see the animals in the background, how do you feel like that changes the energy of the session?
Oh gosh, it I think changes it on different levels. It starts off, of course, with this kind of excitement. Everyone's excited to see these animals. The animals are kind of running out there. It's a new experience for them, so it's kind of like this introduction of like animals sniffing and getting their surroundings, and people full of like kind of this light and laughter, which helps because animals feel that. They feel if we're in fear, or they feel if we're feeling comfortable around them or in good spirits. And so that helps the animals. And then it also helps us because people, when they get around animals, especially a type of animal that maybe they're not around often, it's just like this wow that overcomes. And so it really welcomes a warm hearted start for the practice. And then it really is nice to allow like someone like me who's an instructor, or someone like yourself who owns the sanctuary, to talk a little bit, to let people know about the animals, and kind of just some light little guidelines and things to be cautious about, or things to enjoy while we're practicing. These sessions, they then kind of go on into, once the physical movements begin, into like this calming and soothing of like, you just feel people's worry kind of fade away. They're in the present moment. Their heart rates are, just kind of coming back and cooling and calming into the body. And they get into like the spirit of just like being just kind of this warm hearted, anti-stress, just like overall sense of peace. No matter where at on a sanctuary the class is. Other than like the sheep that we've done, I've done yoga in horse stables. We've done yoga out in the field around pigs and goats. And it seems like no matter what the type of animal is, you see people just calm and they just enjoy being there. They're not even really concerned too much about finding perfection in the movements, which is something that people can get caught up in the practice. And then you see the animal also just feels that. And the animals will sometimes like settle onto someone's mat. They'll kind of find a person who maybe they recognize needs a little extra love or attention, and they hang out with that person. And then later on, you hear that this person was maybe having a bad day, or they had, something happen in their family or something. And they just looked forward to like, were in wow that this animal just kind of like picked that up on and their vibe, and was there to support them in the practice. So it can be really beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing how animals just kind of know that. Like they always do seek out the person that really needs them, and they just have this great energy that they're able to share. So yeah, that's pretty cool. It almost seems like you should use animals for all yoga sessions.
I know. I wish I could just bring them into all the studios. Although, with the weather in the north, that's always kind of an issue. A lot of my classes have taken part in like, Ohio or Michigan or New York. So we got to bring it inside sometimes for a few months. But it really is a loving experience. And it kind of brings this kind of uniqueness and openness even to the yoga and wellness practice, because yoga in itself is more than a physical practice. It is something in its roots and its history that is a spiritual practice. And so to one degree, in the West, yoga has changed quite a bit. It is not what it was in the East. And there's a lot of conversation that surrounds that. But I do find that I think it's such a beautiful thing to bring and have these animals at the practice, because it welcomes this newness. It welcomes and kind of an untapped understanding into spiritual wellness, instead of the focus being on going through a certain movement or pose that is really focused on helping kind of energy to move through the body, or to welcome this present into the body and spirit and in the place that someone finds themselves while they're practicing. You have this animal here that almost is doing that for you, because you're paying attention to the animal. They're welcoming you into the present moment. And animals do kind of have their own vibration. They have their own chakra system. And so just like us, they have their 7 chakras. And so you start to kind of find this new alignment and new understanding with that. And it's kind of a beautiful thing that happens when you have the animals in the practice, because they're allowing for this new sense of well-being and healing to occur. Especially we hear it story after story, time after time with animals like horses, and horses are huge for animal therapy. So you could almost say you have a little bit of this spiritual healing going on along with this welcome of animal therapy that they could each have a lot of the same benefits taking place in the practice. So
Yeah, definitely. And that was why I started the wellness retreats that we do at the sanctuary, because I just saw how therapeutic these animals were for volunteers coming in, people coming in doing tours, workers. It's like just being around them, it's therapeutic. I mean, everybody, if you're having a bad day, they definitely take that away from you. If you're not feeling well, you feel better when you're around them. So it's a really cool setting for our wellness retreats. When people are here and they get to interact with the animals, I think that's usually their favorite part of it, is the animal interactions.
yeah, I definitely agree. At the last retreat where we were able to go and just hang out with the horses and brush them and be with them in the stables. I mean, it kind of that same thing that happens at the yoga. I could just see it there where people are like in this wow kind of phase. And then it's, oh, I want to touch and be close to the animal. And then the animal can feel that the people are just filling with love and invitement, and they're just so excited to be there too, that the horses are like, okay, yeah, like, let's get going here. You can brush me, you can pet me, and they just respond so well. So it's definitely beneficial for both parties. So
Yeah, definitely. So tell
yeah.
us about your project. You have some courses that you're working on?
Yeah, so these have been in the making for quite some time, with especially going back to the dog yoga or yoga for dogs. I met a lot of other yoga teachers who were also interested in incorporating and expanding this into their own practice, and outside the realm of having the nonprofits and the puppy or kitten yoga. But they were like, how do you welcome dogs to the mat, and how do you pick up this animal? And so I've been putting some videos, some slides and information together. A course that I'll be offering very soon that just kind of goes right through that. I have two of them. I have one that's kind of based on for if someone's at home and they just want to know how to welcome their pet to the practice. Mm-hmm. And then one that's teacher oriented. The one that's teacher oriented does go a little bit more into like finding a venue that will allow these animals, because yoga a lot of the time is taught in studios that also have like dance or ballet or theater. So the floors are a big piece of that, and those studios like to keep those floors nice, so that when students are there, they don't have any hiccups or divots or anything in the floor. So it's like kind of going through that process of, what type of floor is best then, to have animals in, or what do you use to cover the floor so that it's safe for the animals and the people. And then it goes into a little bit more of like the financial breakdowns and things. So that's something that, if any of your students teach yoga and are, wellness practitioners or something, that might interest them on that side. It also goes through the different movements and things that you can do with the animals and how to lift them, and or what to do if the animals just want nothing to do with the mat and you're there and you're teaching in a class and you're like, okay, these dogs just took over the class. It's how to kind of go into an understanding with that, because you do have to be a little open of animals will want to do what feels right for them, and it's getting out of this mode of like push or force and just being with that animal and at peace while in practice. And the same, if you're someone who just has pets and you want to welcome your animal to your practice, it's, how do I do that? Where do I put my mat? Is it okay if my dog's on my mat? What if I get upset that they have an accident or something on it? And so I go into more of the breakdown of, having separate yoga mats. Have one that's okay that you don't mind that the animal might want to chew up or they might claw. What do you do when, you have a pet that's just kind of sitting in the midst of where you want to practice, and how to cope with it? Because a big part of that is really just allowing yourself to be in that space of the animal and offering yourself quality time, and understanding that when you go to do yoga with any animal or around any animal, that practice is now not so much centered on yourself and the practice itself, but now you're kind of doing that for the animal, especially if it's your own pet. You are there to spend quality time with them, and there doesn't need to be any expectation. If you only get through one pose, one move, that's fine. You can let go.
Just go with the flow.
Yeah, just go with the flow. That's a huge part of yoga. I talk about that in my human classes when I teach. It's just going with the flow, just being in the present moment. A big portion of class is to welcome us to the present, and that has just a plethora of physical benefits to it. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if people want to follow you so they can learn more about the courses that are coming out or even just follow you in general, I know you have some great TikTok videos and stuff that you put out there. So how would they find you?
Yeah, so I keep it very simple. You can just go to Carmita Smiles, which is my name, that hopefully they find in like the description or something here. So carmitasmiles.com. That has links to the school, that has links to my meetup community, my social media, or if you're on Instagram or TikTok, just Carmita Smiles, Carmita Smiles Yoga, or if you're still kind of confused, you can always just Google Carmita Smiles and I will come up.
I'll add the
I
link
kept
to
it,
the description so it'll be there.
yes, I kept it very simple. I took hold of that name and ran with it, and so it makes it very easy to find if you Google or search. Or same on YouTube, I was able to make my YouTube link just youtube.com/Carmita Smiles. So no
Awesome.
excuses.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool. Well, is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers?
Oh gosh, so many things. But in this short amount of time, no, it's just that I really hope that everyone does take the time to get connected. If they have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If they're like, how do I start with an animal practice? What if it's not dogs? What if it is something like sheep or rabbits or, animals that don't speak in the same voice that we do? How do they go about that? Because with certain animals, you do have to have a little more caution about your space and your surroundings. Like rabbits, they have very gentle backbones, they have very gentle legs, and they can't make the same noises even as a dog or a cat, where they can screech or kind of let you know if they don't like something. They will let you know. And with some animals, you just don't have that. They're silent, so to speak. And so it's just kind of then how do I work into that? So I'm happy to answer any questions like that, or in dealing with larger animals like donkeys or alpacas or horses. What are different safety precautions to take when working around those animals? Like we definitely don't want to have our head inverted too much because that can be a cautious thing to just be aware of. And I also hope that, I hope to meet some of these folks at maybe a retreat at your sanctuary sometime. It would be beautiful to meet these people in person and get to have a conversation with them. So,
Yeah, most definitely. And we have, I don't know if you've seen the website, but I'll send it to you. We have a few new retreats that we're doing next year. So we've kind of come up with some different themes, and you, of course, are welcome to join us at any of them that you can be at. We're happy to have you there. But yeah, I hope we'll get more people attending, and yeah, I think it'll be great to connect with more like-minded people.
yes. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to it. I'll definitely take a look at the website. And yeah, thank you for having me today. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Enjoy all your journeys in life.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
All right, cool.